When a powerful black woman, CEO, boards her flight, the last thing she expects is to have her rightful seat snatched by an entitled stranger. But what happens next halts the entire plane, shakes the crew, and leaves every passenger in awe. You won't believe how this turns out, the twists, the courage, the secrets that unfold in the sky. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss these jaw-dropping stories that flip injustice on its head and deliver the sweet taste of karma right where it's due. Vanessa Brooks, the black woman CEO of one of America's fastest-growing tech companies, had faced boardroom battles, corporate betrayals, and glass ceilings that many thought were unbreakable. But on this particular morning at JFK Airport, she was simply trying to get to London for a critical merger meeting that could change the future of her company. Dressed in a crisp navy blue business suit, her presence commanded respect even before she spoke. As she made her way through the first-class cabin of the international flight, she glanced at her boarding pass, Seat 2A. It was supposed to be her quiet corner for the 8-hour journey. But as she arrived, she found a middle-aged white man, already comfortably seated there, his briefcase tucked neatly under the seat, his legs stretched arrogantly as if he owned the space. "Excuse me," Vanessa said politely, holding up her boarding pass. "You're in my seat." The man, without even looking up from his phone, waved her off. "No, I'm settled here. Take another one. You people always make such a fuss." His tone was laced with entitlement and subtle racism, as if Vanessa's success didn't entitle her to the same space he believed was reserved for men like him. The flight attendant approached, visibly uncomfortable, but hesitant to challenge the man who was already seated. Vanessa's calm but firm voice caught the attention of nearby passengers. "I will not be displaced. Not here, not today." The man scoffed, claiming that his seat had been double-booked, but Vanessa had receipts, literally. Her boarding pass was scanned, confirmed, and yet the flight attendant weakly offered to reseat her elsewhere. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. She had not fought her way to the top to be told to move along in silence. "Call your supervisor," she said. The man sneered. "What are you going to do? Delay the whole flight over a seat?" Little did he know, that's exactly what was about to happen. As the crew scrambled to find a solution, Vanessa refused to sit elsewhere. Other passengers watched in uncomfortable silence, some whispering, some pulling out their phones. But what no one knew was that Vanessa wasn't just any CEO. She was also the guest of honor at the UK government's Global Innovation Summit, and her security clearance required her to be seated in specific zones for diplomatic safety. Vanessa quietly made a phone call, her voice low but firm. Within minutes, the ground security team boarded the plane, and suddenly, the flight that was moments from takeoff came to a complete halt. The atmosphere inside the aircraft thickened. As passengers grew restless, murmurs rippling across the cabin. The white man, whose name was later revealed as Gregory Wallace, an executive from a rival tech firm, had no idea the storm he had invited. The airline supervisor arrived, attempting to defuse the situation, suggesting Vanessa accept a compensation voucher and relocate to another seat. Vanessa's refusal was graceful, yet unmovable. "Why is it that you find it easier to inconvenience me instead of asking him to vacate what is not his?" she asked pointedly, her voice carrying the strength of countless women who had been told to step aside. Gregory smirked, growing bolder as some passengers seemed to side with him. "Look, sweetheart, we both know you can sit somewhere else. Don't make this about race. Don't make this about gender." Vanessa's steady gaze pierced through him. "Oh, it's already about both. You just don't like that, I see it." The flight's captain was forced to leave the cockpit to address the issue personally. But just as it seemed like the airline was ready to give Gregory what he wanted, Vanessa's earlier phone call triggered an unexpected escalation. 2 plainclothed federal agents arrived on board. They quietly pulled the captain aside. "Vanessa, it turned out, was not just a CEO. She was currently under federal protection due to sensitive contracts her company was negotiating with the U.S. government. Seating protocols were not suggestions. They were security requirements. The agents made it clear that Vanessa's seat was not just a preference. It was mandated. Gregory's smile faded as the reality unfolded. Yet still, he refused to move, insisting the agents were overreacting. That's when the agents checked Gregory's ticket. His actual assigned seat was in economy class. He had upgraded himself without permission, assuming no one would dare challenge him. His arrogance had gotten the better of him. As the situation escalated, Gregory's boss, the CEO of his own company, was called. He was horrified to learn what Gregory had done, especially when news outlets, alerted by the delay, began circling the story. The airline faced a growing dilemma. The plane could not legally depart until the seating issue was resolved, and now the media had caught wind of the story. Vanessa's refusal to yield became a rallying point for many who had silently observed similar injustices. As federal agents prepared to forcibly remove Gregory, the captain offered him one final chance to disembark voluntarily. Gregory, desperate to save face, claimed he had been misled by the gate agents and that this was all a misunderstanding. But Vanessa calmly produced a video clip. A fellow passenger had recorded his initial dismissive comments. His lie shattered instantly. With security involved, Gregory was marched off the plane to scattered applause, though some passengers still grumbled about the delay. The airline issued a formal apology to Vanessa, but the damage to their reputation was already done. Vanessa was reseated in her rightful place, but the flight, now severely delayed, had to wait for additional clearance to depart. During the hours of delay, Vanessa discovered through confidential channels that Gregory's company had been planning to undermine her firm in the upcoming merger talks in London. It wasn't coincidence that Gregory had been on the same flight. Vanessa's security detail revealed that Gregory had deliberately chosen her seat, hoping to intimidate or provoke her into a public scene that would paint her as difficult or disruptive ahead of the negotiations. The flight finally departed, but Vanessa was already preparing her next move. On board, she drafted a press statement not only exposing the incident, but also revealing the unethical tactics of Gregory's company. Backed by solid proof. By the time the plane touched down in London, the story had gone viral. Social media was ablaze with hashtags supporting Vanessa, condemning Gregory's entitlement, and criticizing the airline's initial hesitation to act. News outlets picked up the story under headlines like "CEO Stands," "Her Ground at 30,000 Feet," and "Entitlement." Grounded: how one woman's refusal stopped a flight. Gregory's company, facing massive backlash, swiftly fired him and issued public apologies, but the fallout was far from over. Vanessa, leveraging the massive public support, used the momentum to solidify her position in the merger, gaining more favorable terms and ousting key players aligned with Gregory's firm. In an unexpected twist, regulators in both the US and the UK launched investigations into Gregory's company for corporate espionage tactics that had now come to light. Vanessa's bold stance on the plane sparked a wider conversation about microaggressions, racial bias, and gender discrimination in corporate and public spaces. Invitations flooded in for her to speak at global forums, not just about technology, but about leadership and courage in the face of everyday battles. The airline, desperate to repair its image, offered Vanessa a lifetime first-class membership and promised to retrain its staff on bias awareness. But Vanessa insisted on a public partnership to advance diversity and inclusion initiatives within the aviation industry. As the merger concluded in Vanessa's favor, she didn't just secure a business victory, she became a symbol of resilience and the power of not backing down. On the day she signed the final contract, her company's valuation soared, and Gregory's former firm plummeted into obscurity. Vanessa smiled as she boarded her next flight, her seat waiting, undisturbed, her name respectfully acknowledged. And as she settled in, she looked out the window, knowing that sometimes the smallest battles, even over a seat, can change the entire flight path of your life. So the next time someone tells you to sit somewhere else, remember Vanessa. Brooks, stand your ground. And remember, justice takes off exactly when it's meant to. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories where the underestimated rise, the powerful fall, and justice always lands on time.